Hi guys, welcome to the last gold lap guide before Christmas. This time we take on Mount Fuji short course with the Honda NSX GR2 in the latest online lap time challenge. I've currently got a gold time, so I'll show you what I did to achieve that. Now this combo is brilliant, but it's so easy to leak lap time without realising, so stick around to the end, I'm sure you'll pick up a few helpful tips. So starting the lap, use all the revs of this car, absolutely no problem at all. Approaching first corner in 6th gear. First braking points. Where the stand starts on the left hand side, somewhere about 120 to 130 metres. As long as you're braking before the curbing starts, you'll be okay. And we're going to go down to 1st gear here. So approaching the corner, hard on the brakes, down to 1st gear. I'm going to take a bit of this curb on the inside, and as soon as you get to the apex, flick it up to 2nd and start putting the power down. Be as aggressive as you can right there, because you'll get that time back all down this straight. Now be careful of the AstroTurf on the left hand side. Get 2 wheels on that, it's good night and end of lap, so be careful and stay off that as best you can. Now we're going to approach the first tricky corner of this course, and the braking part I like to use here is just after the 100 marker, roughly 70 to 80 metres. I'm going to brake down to 4th gear, and I'm going to use about 50-55% brake pressure just to get the car turned and keep the speed up as best we can through the corner. So approaching the corner, we're going to have again 50-55% braking pressure, drop down to 4th gear, try and keep the speed up, keep 2 wheels on the red and white curbing, you should be fine for not invalidating your lap. Easy to cut that though. Use all that circuit on the right hand side. I'll show you from behind the car. Take plenty of curbing there, not too much, and plenty of on the right hand side. You can go wider than that if you want to carry a bit more speed through, not a problem. This next bit, just where the apex of this curb is, I'm going to come off the throttle completely but stay in 4th gear. Now I've got the car turned quite aggressively to the right. I'm going to keep the steering angle in but come off the throttle and just watch how the car as it slows down starts to pitch into the corner. It's almost a double apex this corner, but I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So approaching the corner, off the throttle now, apex 1's just there, we drift out to the middle of the circuit roughly, apex 2, just where this little bit of tarmac is on the right hand side where the arrow is there, that's where I'm going to try and apex the second time, and I'm going to start putting the power down around about that point. So as you start to put the power down here, don't go too wide, try and stay roughly around the middle of the track, so you need to set this next corner up. Next braking part I like to use, just as this curbing is ending on the left hand side, I'm going to brake down, I'm going to use 1st gear here, and I'm going to try and get as far right as possible to try and open up this next corner because there's a massive straight coming after it. So approaching this corner, get far to the right hand side as possible, down to 1st gear, take plenty of apex curbing, back up to 2nd again, and get on the throttle as early as you possibly can and use all this circuit on the right hand side. Don't be afraid, it shouldn't spit you off. Plenty of exit speed to be had there. Now keep to the right hand side, we don't need to go too wide, we don't need to open this corner up too much. And remember, this is the short version, so this is the next corner. Braking point here I like to use is just as the tarmac changes from dark to light. It's a really good marker this. We're going to brake down into 3rd gear. Now one thing I found with this car is it appreciates a quick trail off of the brake pedal, so we're not going to try and hold too much brakes for the trail braking through here. So as we approach the corner, down to 3rd gear, hard on the brakes initially, down to about 25%, plenty of purchase, take plenty of curb. I'll show you that from behind the car as well. Plenty of curb there. Keep 2 tyres on the red and white curb, you should be absolutely fine, shouldn't invalidate your lap, that should be all good. And just be careful on the throttle on the way out, it can get a bit sideways if you get too greedy. Next braking point, where this AstroTurf starts on the left hand side, or just as this lamppost disappears from the right hand side of your screen, and we're going to brake down to 1st gear. This is the technical bit we can make or break lap time. So approaching this corner, 90% brakes, quick trail off, down to 1st gear, before the apex, back to 2nd again once we get the car rotated and pointed where we want it to. Up towards the next bit. Next braking point I like to use is just at the end of this curbing. Don't try and go too wide here because you'll just lose the car. And I'm going to use 1st gear again here. So as we're turning here, we can't use full brakes. It's around 70-75%. Just stay to the middle of the circuit approximately, down to 1st gear. I get a bit too greedy on the inside of this one. Early apex a little bit, probably lost a bit of time there. Back to 2nd, use all that circuit on the right hand side. Last braking point, this orange barrier on the right hand side, or this orange painted barrier on the right hand side, just as you're coming up to pass that, I'll then brake down to 1st gear again. So for this one, I found that the best way of doing it was just stay in the middle of the circuit and just hit 1st gear. I tried going wide, it didn't work for me. So down to 1st gear, middle of the circuit, get the car rotated. As soon as you do, back to second again, back on that power nice and aggressively, as aggressive as you dare. Use all that circuit on the left hand side and away we go. And as always guys, if you get value out of this, then please do hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing for more content like this. I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. We crossed the line, 1 minute 27.681, which is good enough for 0.97%, and at time of recording a rather competitive 50th in the world. Now, I talk about braking a lot in this video. If you haven't seen this yet, I've got a little series of braking videos which are accessible by clicking this video right here. Thank you very much guys, have a great break, take care, I'll see you in 2024. Cheers.